There are many types of HTC phones, and the Desire A30 is one of them. It's one of their mid-range phones with a Mediatek 6753 chip and a Mali T720 GPU. They have included front-facing speakers and OIS from the rear camera. Like most of its non-flagship counterparts, the Desire A30 is mostly made out of plastic. The back is a little smooth, it's shiny, and is quite slippery when using one-handed. When the light shines on it on a certain angle, it tends to show smudges and fingerprints even on a white model. The back is chamfered, which is there to make it more flushed with the camera module. It does help a little to reduce rockiness when used on the table. The borders are brightly coloured to give it a contrast against the white body, which I think it looks a little bit on the cheaper side. The speaker grills are also coloured same as the border, which I feel is better as compared to the traditional black colour. It weighs about 155 grams, but it still feels quite solid in my hand. The buttons doesn't feel flimsy and has a nice tactile feedback. As for the screen size, the 5.5-inch form factor is a little difficult to use one-handed, as the top and bottom bezels are quite big. The only thing that I want to be changed is the SIM card and micro SD card flaps. Those flaps seems like it's going to break any time when prying it open. Other than that, the Desire A30 feels good on the whole. The display is bright, clear and full of detail. Text and images are sharp with nice vibrant colours. The display is bright enough and I had no problems using it in the sun. There is about 22GB of actual storage out of the 32GB after the OS and their apps have been installed. Well, there's micro SD card support up to 2TB, so you will never run out of space for your music and media. This phone can only take one SIM card, and they block the access of the second SIM card slot. The top is where the headphone jack is, the flaps are on the left, the bottom is a micro USB port, and the right side is the volume and power buttons. The vibration feedback isn't powerful enough. The motor feels weak and slow compared to other phones. Other specs include a 2800 mAh battery, Wi-Fi 802.11a/b/g/n, Bluetooth 4.1, NFC, accelerometer, compass, GPS, and a notification LED. One of the features is the HTC BoomSound front-facing speakers with Dolby Audio. They actually sound quite good, and definitely better than back or side-facing speakers. It doesn't have the bass-like sound as compared to my Nexus 6, but still, it works very well. You can choose between theatre mode and music mode depending on your liking. I'm happy that this phone has front-facing speakers, and is definitely a welcome change for a mid-range phone. Hey guys, this is Richard here. I wasn't too pleased with my OnePlus One in the past. The invite system was horrible. In addition to that, it was plagued with issues like it's powered by a 64-bit octa-core 1.5GHz Mediatek 6753 and Mali T720 GPU. On Antutu, it scored about 42,000 and Geekbench scored about 693 on the single core and 3098 on the multi-core score. These are all benchmarks, but what about real-life usage? I didn't notice any lags or slowdowns when navigating the home screen or launching apps. To be honest, slowdown shouldn't exist, as most mobile phones should be able to handle normal usage. As for multitasking, the 3GB of RAM is enough. I didn't really have to bother about closing apps or restarting my phone just to free up the memory. Entertainment-wise, gaming was quite a good experience for me. The loading times for the games took a little longer than usual, but it's still bearable. Framerate was relatively smooth, with little or no slowdowns. This phone should perform well with most games in the market. As for software, it's running on Android 5.1 with Sense 7.0 on top. It has the usual Android navigations like swiping down to access the notification shade, and the app drawers are the same. But of course with HTC Sense, it definitely looks different from stock Android. I'm not entirely fond of the brightness toggle in the quick settings menu. You will have to tap 3 times to choose the different brightness levels. Of course, you can always tap and hold on it to access the slider. Swiping to the left accesses the Blink Feed page where you can read news right at your fingertips. There is also a download folder at the home screen where you can access all your latest downloaded apps. The launcher also can be changed to easy mode, mostly for the elderly, where it's a dumbed down version of the UI. Other customizations include changing the software buttons to perform specific commands. Motion Launch, where you can choose to enable 6 different gestures based on your habits. These commands are fixed and you cannot customize the behavior. Other settings include the quiet ring on pickup, pocket mode, and flip to mute. Battery life was a little underwhelming for the 2800 mAh battery. I unplugged it at around 8 AM in the morning, and about 7:30 PM, I had about 5 to 10% battery left. I surf the net and do a lot of messaging. Occasional gaming and light emails are also part and parcel of my daily usage. I had to be mindful of the battery life and needed to recharge once when it went flat in the evening. They have the power saving mode where it conserves CPU usage, and the extreme power saver where it changed the UI to a more simplified version in black and white. The charger that came with it is 1.5 amperes and it took roughly about 2 hours plus to fully charge the phone. The front camera is fitted with a 4MP ultra pixel with f2.0 aperture with wide angle lens. I have never used it before, but there is a live makeup mode that is there to fix the blemishes of your selfies. The back camera is 13MP with f2.0 aperture with BSI, which is backside illumination, where you can improve low light shots. Photos taken in the day with good light came out pretty good. Night shots, however, tend to be a little grainy. It also comes with the usual camera modes like photo booth, panorama, split camera, and bokeh, where you can focus the object and blur its background. For manual camera people, you can change the ISO, white balance, and exposure. When it comes to the video OIS, it turns out quite fine and it does keep the video and target object quite steady. Nevertheless, it's a welcome addition to a mid-range smartphone. The HTC Desire A30 is a mid-range smartphone that costs around 375 Singapore dollars. Apart from the 1-year-old chip that performs decently and the subpar battery life, the two features I really liked was the front-facing speakers and OIS. For a mid-ranger that costs this price, I can't help but compare it to the OnePlus 3 that I reviewed. For an extra $200 plus, I can get a flagship device with flagship specs. The Desire A30 is still a good device, but I think it's more worth it if the price was much lower. That is all for my experiences using the Desire A30. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to see more of such videos in the future. Thanks for watching and see you guys in the next one.